Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Just Tamika. Today's episode is a continuation from the previous episode. The last episode was about setting effective goals. It's the beginning of the year, and so it started out with that in mind. And so I'm speaking with a licensed therapist who has much experience in this sort of thing and working with young people, and she gives her take on some great ways to set yourself up for success in meeting those goals. So tune in and enjoy. And as always, this is Just Tamika. I think that's a good thing too. And then speaking about small things too, I was actually talking to a client the other day, and we were talking about how for her, and in self-reflecting, it's also true for me, that when big things happen, I'm able to get over them easier. But for me, some of the hardest days have been when every little thing goes, and it's not anything that has happened that is like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, but like this goes wrong, then that, and it's all these little things that pile up where I'm like, I just want to go home, put the covers over my head, and start again, because this is not a good day. So I think too, small things really do matter, just to kind of drive your point home. And I'm wondering if you had the ability to go back and talk to your future self before your healing, what are some words of wisdom that you would tell young Janet?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I would tell myself, you belong. No matter what other people have said, those are lies. You belong. You're here for a purpose.
Yes.
Sprinkle in that self-compassion. You're doing the best that you can.
Oh my God, that is so big. Yeah. I wish that I had learned about self-compassion before I did. I think that's something that we need to start teaching our girls earlier, especially now, after COVID, and, the younger people are just hit so hard with emotional baggage from COVID. I think across the board, all of the clinicians and all of the therapists and, social workers that I know have seen a huge increase in anxiety and depression, but no one has seemed to have been hit harder than our young people. I'm wondering how our older people are doing. Maybe it's just that I don't have a key on the pulse, because they typically trend higher in depression. But yeah, it just is across the board pretty high. And I think learning self-compassion, I think with most of I'm seeing now with my males too, but with most of my teen girls before, I found it necessary to do a lot of self-esteem building, a lot of ego strength building, just because of, it just doesn't seem to be something that naturally surfaces. What is there, you have to develop and nurture.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's almost like this. I was listening to another podcast, and it really got me thinking. They had said, hope is a discipline, right? Or in this case would be self-compassion, self-love, right?
Yeah.
That, at least I wasn't. And again, and not in a harmful way. I think it's our parents do the best with what they know,
mm-hmm.
right?
Exactly.
And so, if somebody were to say, yeah, you can love yourself, or have compassion for yourself, I maybe, who knows, maybe I would have gotten to a healing journey sooner, but I didn't, and that's okay though. It's happening now.
I agree. And I think for me, had someone told me at a younger age, I would have certainly been like, what do you mean self-compassion? What's that? I would really have had to have somebody break down for me what self-compassion looks like. And I think what I end up telling my young people, I think my older people too, we do have to talk about, well, do you know what self-compassion is? The way I explain it, and I'd like to know how you explain it, because you work with younger kids too, and parents, but the way that I explain it is that a lot of times our self-talk the way that we talk to ourselves in our inner thoughts, we would never, ever, ever talk to anybody else like that, especially somebody that we cared about. We wouldn't say you're dumb. We wouldn't say, oh, you're an idiot. But how quick are we to think, oh, I'm so stupid, or I'm an idiot, or right? We don't give ourselves that same grace that we give everybody else. And so I explained that part of it is changing the way you think about yourself. And because you've been thinking this way for a long time, it takes practice. And then you have to be kind to yourself, because again, you wouldn't push somebody else past the brink of exhaustion. You wouldn't expect anybody else to do all these things that we're self-imposing, right? And so sometimes giving yourself permission to take a nap. Sometimes, which was a big thing for me, I would feel guilty whenever I had time and space to take a nap. I couldn't even enjoy the nap because I'm like laying there like I shouldn't be doing this. There's a million things that need to be done. So how do you come around to explaining self-compassion when you need to?
Self-compassion for me, when I was the same way when I first heard it. I'm like, what do you mean?
Right?
And to myself, why? Right? We're just I'm so used to being very critical of myself and very hard. Mm-hmm. I think the first thing is awareness, right?
Yeah.
Am I aware that I am being very critical and mean to myself? I don't think I was. I think it just became so just
kind of ingrained.
Just like, okay, like I wasn't aware how mean I was to myself, and part of it is learning to unlearn I told, right? And having to, remind myself, you matter. You belong. You have a purpose. Even if we make mistakes, like, it doesn't make you less than. Because I think what the new research is showing, right, and this comes from the work of Kristin Neff, right, is when we talk about self-esteem, right, we have, if I do this, I will feel better for myself, about myself, right? I accomplish this, I will feel better about myself. But you have to, it's like within that piece, it's having to complete something, right? To bring you. But with self-compassion, it's more about you are already valuable, whether you complete this or not.
I love it.
You are all valuable.
Yeah.
Right? And so I tell kiddos, sometimes, we will maybe not get the grade that we wanted, even though we worked hard. Does that mean that you're not valuable? It doesn't. You're still valuable, And now sprinkling that self-compassion, right? It's like phrases such as like, even though, right? Even though I didn't reach that grade, I am lovable. I am loved. I matter. But that takes practice, right?
Gosh, it does.
Just as, all of that hurtful talk that we say to ourselves and that we believe, that took time. Somebody gave us that message and we believed it and we ran with it. Not consciously, but sometimes we have to work harder. Like, we have to train our mind, and and believe in our hearts. And that takes time, and that takes, sometimes even someone else reminding you. I remember I had this little card that I was given. It says, may I be well, may I accept love, and just, these mantra sayings. And I would, in my bathroom, as I was getting ready, I would read them. It's like a reminder, okay, even if I didn't believe it in the moment, right?
Yeah.
To express. But that was like trying to, invite that into my life.
I love that. I've had my daughter, Addie, share with me that she had a teacher who would have them take what's called power stances. And so you would stand in a superhero stance, your best superhero stance, and you had to say something powerful or positive about yourself. So it might be whatever it is that you can think of that's positive. Like, I'm funny, I'm a good friend, I appreciate me, just getting into the habit that way. And I thought that was so cool for her to do that, especially I think Adeline was maybe like 14 at the time. And
yeah.
so, yeah.
Even with like, you know, like power phrases and power stands, right? Like what we do with our bodies, right?
Yes.
Can like have an impact on how we feel. There's also things that we can do with our bodies to bring in that self-love and that feeling of like feeling loved and belong. So something as you know, like hugging yourself. I know that can sound silly, or even just placing your hands together, right, in a gentle manner. Like that's telling your body, like you deserve to be held. Like here I am, holding you.
Seriously. And it makes such a difference. I think that's the part people don't get.
Yeah. So, I mean, I try to apply that now with when I set goals, or when I, you know, if I have a rough time reaching those goals, right? That's what I try my best to apply that.
Thank you. And then finally, what would you like people to come away knowing today? Like, what would you say is the biggest takeaway from our talk and our time here today?
Ooh, that's a good one. I just want people to know that, you know, just, you know, it's okay. It's okay to, you know, take a break. It's okay to breathe. It's okay if we don't reach a certain goal at a certain time. I just hope that people can, you know, love themselves and, you know, be nurturing to themselves in this journey, and invite others to be in that journey with you, others that you feel safe and that, you know, you can get support from.
Perfect. Janet, I cannot thank you enough for being a guest on my Little Humble podcast show. I always get so much out of what you say, and I think others do too. And so I'm just really grateful and want to welcome you back anytime, many times, multiple times, as often as you can and are willing to be.
I love having these conversations with you.
I've often said that when we talk, I should just press record, and this will be like future podcast fodder for, like, oh, you know what, this will be a good thing, or that'll be a good thing. But of course, not without your permission. I would always be like, hey, can we do this? But it has really been a joy, and I thank you so much. And friends, thank you for tuning in. I hope that you've come away with a better understanding of how to exercise self-compassion, along with how to set goals and how to set yourself up for success and succeeding with those goals. So until next time, as always, I am just Tamika. Have a great day.